All right, folks, Unhappy Wednesday. Coming to you live from our humble abodes. This is Unhappy and the MP back together again after a couple of week hiatus. We thank you for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, use the company dime if you're still stuck at work on this week back from the holiday. Crack open a cold one if that's your thing on a Wednesday night, although I think a lot of us are probably partaken quite a bit in that over the last couple of weeks. And no matter which way we do it, let's try to have some fun here as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. Yes, the shittiest week of the year. It's just the worst week of the year. Mason, I don't know if you agree or not, but coming out of the holiday break, it always sucks when you got to go back to work, right? Whether you had the whole 2 weeks off or you took some extended time, you spent time with friends and family. You know, for us here, we had our son come home from his military training for 2 weeks. So, you know, Monday morning was just fucking brutal, as if it ever isn't. It's the worst Monday of the year. As far as I'm concerned, it's the worst work week of the year. It's cold. It's you're all full. You're still full of chocolate and cheese. You're still shaking it off a bit, and you got to go right back into the shit pit. But here we are. We're going to try to entertain you here for about an hour and help you get on through this the third day of the hostage situation and get on closer to your weekend. Mason, how the hell was your holiday, man?
It was good. Got to see a lot of family, which is really nice as always. And unfortunately, I was one of the unlucky people who I didn't get a break over the holidays, so it was kind of business as usual for me. So, but nonetheless, it was nice. Like I said, got to see family, which is always nice, and then you got to see a lot of good football, a lot of bad football. But nonetheless, we got the college football playoffs. We clinched, and so looking forward to talking about it all.
All right. Sounds good, man. Glad you had a good holiday. You're a young man. So, it's working a lot more at this age means you won't have to do it when you get to be my age. That's the way I would look at it. Who's in the room here? Lou Mancini. What's up, people? Fanny coming to you from Dayton, Ohio. Hey, cool kids. Scott Calcaterra. What's up, my brother? We got the update on Grant through his Uncle Scott here. Grant has a grade 1 ankle sprain, but thinking he might be able to go this Sunday. And Lord knows we're going to need all the depth we can get on the offensive side of the ball. Because good God, do we stink on that side of the ball. Deb in the room. Greetings, he says. What's up, folks? I am going to try. So my New Year's resolution as far as this show is concerned is to try to pay better attention to the room, even while it's Mason and I here, or if we add somebody else in at the same time. A lot of times it's easy to lose track of what's going on there when we're conversing, and I need to do a better job of that. That falls on me. I'll take care of that. But let's get right down to the business end of things so we can get on to the fun stuff. Everyone, Michelle's favorite part of the program. We are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980 and reserve a private booth and party package. Also offering free parking, a full food menu, daily drinking food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you're looking for a place to catch the playoff game this weekend, and as I said all year long, You don't want to sell a kidney to have to get into the link. I think you might have to sell somebody else's kidney on top of yours to get in there this weekend. You don't want to go through any black market illegal shit. Head on over to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that's Cheerleader Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. I don't know where my banner went. Oh, that's right. I think they used this. Yeah. I think they used StreamYard for one of the most recent shows here. So I need to find it. So my banner is gone. There it is. And boom. There we go. Now it's back. All right. Anytime we're live, at the bottom of your screen, greenlegion.com. Folks, the season's over. The regular season's over. Now comes the second season. I don't know if it's sold out yet, but if it's not, and you want to get out to that tailgate over at Stateside Live, head on over to greenlegion.com. Click on Trips and Tailgates. Home tailgates. Click on that thing. If it does not say sold out, folks, book it and book it immediately. If it is not sold out already, I promise you that thing is going to sell out. If you did not catch Stephanie's post yesterday, I cracked up reading it, but she's not wrong. And she does her little hair flip as she's saying it. So get on over there, book it. There's also an upcoming Phillies spring training trip, I think, is available on there now. And then, of course, keep your eyes on the website and on all of our social media as we head into the off season and start getting towards, schedule release and all of that stuff. All of your early bird package, early bird options will come out for next season. I know we're at Tennessee next year. That's Nashville, for those of you that are not aware, and those of you who did not go last time we were in Nashville. The tailgate for that one is a sailgate. That's right, folks. We hop on the General Jackson Riverboat from Opryland and take that sumbitch all the way down the Cumberland River and dock right at Nissan Stadium. You don't want to miss that one. If you're looking for an away trip, I would jump on that one, especially if you want to come hang with me, Michelle, and a couple other knuckleheads from the Midwest Eagles Nest. We will be on that trip next year. I promise. It is only a 4.5-hour drive for us. We're going to be there. But keep your eyes peeled on that. As we work into the off season. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, though. We got playoff games to win. GreenLegion.com, always the best in the business, but not just the website, not just the YouTube channel. Please like, follow, share, subscribe to us across all social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and, of course, here on YouTube, which when we stream, this is where you'll find us. Mm-hmm. Green Legion, folks, and Green Legion Radio, the unquestioned best in the business. Who else just jumped in the room? Did someone say cheerleaders? Yeah, Russ Taylor in the room. Did someone say cheerleaders? Did someone say strippers? Nobody said strippers. I said gentlemen's club. Scott Calcaterra, Michelle's favorite part of the show. Hey, honey, Scott says it's your favorite too. She says, haha. What do we got here? Russ Taylor again. Can anyone tell me what time the Chiefs, Cowboys, Ravens, Giants, or Commodes games are this weekend?
Good question.
I don't know, but I'm sure they might be able to share their fucking tea times with you.
Ask John Harbaugh.
David Loeb, they're not playing. And that catches us. I think that kid. Lou from Dade, there he is. Our brother down there in Miami. Good evening, gents, and all in the room. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you too, my brother.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Always great to see you. And again, Lou backing us up here. Hit that like button, everyone.
There you go.
Keep coming back. All right. Mason, let's get down to it here.
Awesome.
Let's kick the college thing out of the way, and then let's get on to the NFL. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I whiffed big time on the second round of the college playoffs.
I think we both did, to be fair.
Yeah. I had Texas Tech. They got blanked by Oregon. That was an ugly football game on both sides of the ball. Texas Tech just happened to be worse. I don't know if that quarterback of theirs had some sort of parlay or some sort of bet, I would check his bank accounts because he was absolutely brutal. I did not whiff on Indiana against Alabama. Now, I didn't think it'd be 38-3, but I did have Indiana winning that and covering. I whiffed on Ole Miss, Georgia, badly,
Mm-hmm.
and I whiffed on Miami, Ohio State. So, one thing I'm gonna crack open here. We've been doing this playoff system this is the second year now.
Okay.
The teams each year, the top 4 seeds got byes, right? So that's 8 byes. Those teams in the second round are a combined 1-7 now. Indiana, the only victory. Yeah. So
interesting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And they were beating that like a dead horse while you were watching the games over the New Year's thing. But yeah, they are 1-7. Indiana being the only one that got through it. And albeit, look, I think they played a flawed Alabama team that ran into Oklahoma and looked good after a slow start. But
Right.
Indiana right now is they look the part of a national champion. But yeah, 1-7 for these teams with a bye. And my thoughts on it, and I want to get yours. So after the conference championships, there is a long break, right? Everybody's off for however many weeks. It's not like the NFL where bye week, it's only 1 week. They're off for a while. Then you have the first round where now these teams that everyone's been off pretty much the same amount of time, but now these teams that are playing first round have gotten loose. And now it's an extra week where the teams that had the bye are off for an entire another week. It's not the same. You know what I mean? If you're off for a month versus off for 5 weeks while the team you're playing against has gotten a chance to get back on the field, I think you're seeing some result of that. And the 1-7 kind of backs me up with it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I was going to echo the exact same sentiment. I think this is one of the kind of risks and rewards you get when you kind of bench players at all. Of course, in the NFL, like you said, it's a little bit different. You only get maybe 1 week. And so, for example, Sirianni, we, of course, missed out on the number 1 seed. So Sirianni wanted to get the starters a little bit of a rest. And so we got a pseudo bye week.
We'll get to that.
We got a pseudo bye week. But your point is really interesting because when you're off for 4 weeks, like you said, those teams are studying each other. And when you're off for 5 weeks, you don't know who you're studying for. And so it's a lot easier to stay mentally sharp and attentive to the game and to your opponent, to philosophy in general, when you know where you're looking for. Because if you're Ohio State, if you are Georgia, if you're Texas Tech, you're not going to be studying Oregon and James Madison for 4 weeks and then watching Oregon for another week. It's like, you're not going to do that. So their kind of time is kind of truncated in that sense. And so they have a lot less time to actually react than those other teams have. And so I think that actually makes the Indiana victory that much more impressive and from my perspective. And so it looks almost like a blessing and a curse getting that number 1 or getting that bye week. And so that extra week actually makes a lot of big difference.
I mean, and it's playing out that way. I mean, they're 1-7 combined, right? And these are good teams.
That's crazy.
These are good teams, right? Texas Tech was flying. You know, Georgia looked like the best team. It could have been the best team in the country.
Yep.
And you're up against an Ole Miss team that just lost its head coach and got beat. You know, Ohio State. You know, you kind of just expected them to rebound after the loss to Indiana. It didn't happen. Miami comes in with that brutal defense of theirs and just takes care of it. Yep. 1-7, and again, Indiana being the only one, and good God, 38-3. Yeah, Fanny doesn't like it, right? One person mentions Bama, and she's going to start biting people in the knee. Sorry, not sorry, but Indiana, Bama had no shot that night, just none. Indiana just absolutely beat them to death.
Yep.
Lou from Dade. Michael Irvin was whiffing and sniffing everything. Look, hey, Lou, I don't think he waited until after the win, brother. I got a feeling he was hopped up he was
during a game.
It was a blizzard in his suite. Let's put it that way.
That's so good.
Russ Taylor, since you mentioned parlay, does anyone find it funny that an active NBA player is on DraftKings commercials with Kevin Hart, and the NBA is in a betting scandal right now? No, just me. No, I don't. Look, and we talked about this a little bit a few weeks back, where that whole what's been uncovered in the NBA, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to start uncovering it in every major sport. I think it's unfortunate, and we joke about it with the kid from Texas Tech. Was he taking the dive? He looked awful. You hope not, but I mean, it's out there now. When you're using DraftKings and sports betting things as advertisements, you're opening the door for bad shit to happen, and I think it's going to continue to happen.
By the way, it's not just any NBA player; it's quite literally LeBron James. So.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Who's on his way out, right? You got to imagine that next year's his last year. You have to think
he's also LeBron James, but
he's also LeBron James, who I can't fucking stand. Just to get that on the table. I know for you, Mason, you grew up with you're a LeBron area guy, LeBron era guy.
I think Jordan's the GOAT, but
Jordan's the GOAT.
I think Jordan's the GOAT.
Scott Calcaterra, the fish. A Philly tribute to the fish that saved Pittsburgh, Dr. J. Keenan Harmon, I had ice cream late last night, had a funny dream. The Eagles win the Super Bowl, and Patullo becomes the first Super Bowl winning OC who gets fired after the parade. I love it. He says butter pecan, Breyer's butter. All right, yeah, enough with the ice cream. I've had enough fat and shit over the last couple of weeks. I don't need to talk that anymore. But so yeah, I mean, I whiffed bad on the second round. I honestly I think this 1-7 with the longer layoff, I think just pushes us even closer now to that 16-team thing where they can back up the start of the playoffs so that the layoff isn't as long. And I think by next year you're going to see 4-4, 2-2, 1-3. I'm convinced of it at this point.
I think you'll see the bigger schools asking for it. Actually,
starting to see
the pattern here.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell the Big Ten and the SEC that they're guaranteed 4 teams in, I mean, what conference wouldn't dive on that, right? It's more money, more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about, right? It's the networks, it's Fox, it's ESPN, it's all of that shit. Mm-hmm. But I can cry in my soup here all I want about whiffing in the second round. The bottom line is your semifinal, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Friday night is number 5 Oregon at number 1 Indiana. Well, I say at, but obviously it's neutral site. These two teams played earlier this year in Eugene, Oregon, and Indiana went up there and handed Oregon its only loss of the year with
That's right.
a 10-point win, 30-20. I really, after seeing what they did to Alabama, I don't think the outcome of this one is any different than it was the first time around, right? Indiana looks very, very poised to move on here, and I don't know that it's really going to be all that difficult for them. Oregon did not look great against Texas Tech. Texas Tech just was awful all the way across the board. I've got Indiana in this one. The spread's 3.5, and I got them covered. I don't think it's a problem.
Oh no, yeah, 100%. I think Indiana is the one of the 8 for a reason. I think that they're just that good. And so you look at their defense. Their defense is unreal. Mendoza is playing great. The whole team is just playing great. And so I honestly think that they have a good chance to just win the whole thing, especially with the teams that are left, not throwing shade or anything like that. But I think if you don't have as long of a bye and you have the 16-team playoff this year, and Ohio State and Georgia and Texas Tech, and they all kind of play again at the same time as all the other schools, I think they're not 1-7. I think that record is a little bit different there. So I think that the teams that are left are not the greatest portrayal of true talent in college football in terms of pure team quality that there is. And so I think in that sense, it kind of gives Indiana a really big leverage and advantage there. And so I think in that sense, Indiana very largely, I think, has an advantage there. I'll take it with you. The spread I'm looking at right here is minus 3.5. I'll more than take Indiana on that. The total is the over under is 48.5. Do I think that either team scores 24? Yeah, I probably think that they probably might. Yeah, so look at Indiana. I think they cover. I think it could be even 7 to 10 point margin there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they played through the first time around, right? Yeah. It was a third. So that line is about right on what you would expect. Oregon. Don't get me wrong, they weren't great either. Like I said a couple of times against Texas Tech, but they did win 23-0, right? And Texas Tech was flying coming into the play. They looked the part of a team that earned the bye week. But I mean, you got Indiana that went to Eugene earlier in the season, and you got the over under on this one at 48.5. Those two teams went to a combined 50 when they played earlier. It was 30-20 Indiana. Spread at 3.5. I think it's fair. I mean, I would feel comfortable laying even 6.5, and still taking Indiana. I think anything more than that, and you're talking about a 2-score thing, and then it's maybe not. But that was Indiana earlier in the year when there were still some questions. If anyone's got questions about Indiana now, I don't really know what the hell's the matter with you. They appear that they can beat you whatever type of game you want to play, right? That game against Ohio State for the Big Ten championship was defense. It was ugly. It was smashing around. It was yucking up, and they beat them at their own, however which way you want to do it. And then they go play against Bama and just blow the doors right off them. Look, I would be comfortable at 6.5, and still take Indiana and lay the points. The other one I think is a little bit more intriguing. Ole Miss against Miami. So Miami, defense travels, right? So this is what we've come to here. Miami's there because of their defense. I mean, they've given up a combined 17 points in the 2 games they've played. And that's against A&M, who had a good offense, and against an Ohio State team that can hang 50 on anybody when they're going right. Miami's given up a total of 17 points. Now, they've only scored 34, but it doesn't matter when your defense doesn't give up anything, right? And they're going up against an Ole Miss team that does not play great defense, but can run up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the weakness with Ole Miss would be, they lost Kiffin. There's questions about what coaches are going to still be available to coach the team and all that stuff. The disarray and everything I thought would come back to bite them against an excellent Georgia team, and it didn't happen, right? Georgia couldn't quite hold on. They had the lead, and they couldn't hold it. But now you get these two teams locking together, and I'm sorry, Lou Dominguez down there in Miami. I am rooting hard for Ole Miss on this one, and it's 100% to stick it to Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, who built that program back up. Lane Kiffin, who recruited well, coached well, got this team into the playoff, just to bail and tell that squad, I don't think you're good enough to win a national championship. I'm going to go to LSU, who didn't make the playoff, and I think that's my better opportunity. So my heart is with Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I think the smart money might be on Miami, though. I know Ole Miss can light up the scoreboard, but nobody's doing it to Miami. Nobody. They got bashed for being in there out of a bad ACC, where Duke ended up winning the fucking, the conference championship. And, there were questions of whether or not the only reason Miami was in is because they had to win over Notre Dame and all of that stuff. Well, they have, in my opinion, shut people up. They went down to College Station, only gave up 3 points. I get it. Interception at the end of the game, trying to tie it up. I understand. Still only gave up 3 points. They scored 10, but you only gave up 3. And you went in the Cotton Bowl against an elite team in Ohio State,
Right.
and manhandled them defensively. Look, like I said, I want Ole Miss versus Indiana, because then at that point I can just watch, and whoever wins, I'm happy with it. I do think that the smart money's probably on Miami with that defense, though. They are so rough. So rough.
Yeah, so this whole game largely echoes a sentiment of the original Ohio State and Indiana game, where it's kind of seemed like the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. You have like this great Indiana defense and this prolific Ohio State offense, and so who's going to blink first? When it comes to those types of matchups, as we saw with Indiana and Ohio State, the defense wins, and the defensive team's offense just has to score enough points to just beat the other team. And so this very easily could turn into one of those contests. All Miami has to do is just snuff Ole Miss out enough to give Carson Beck the ability to score more points than them. And so while it may appear to be Miami's defense versus Ole Miss's offense, the real game is going to come down to whether or not Carson Beck can take pressure off of his defense, score on Ole Miss, and thus kind of have all three sides of the ball come together and win it for them. I think that with the whole new playoff structure, like you said, the bye teams are 1-7. I think this is really cool to kind of have all these different schools that we otherwise probably wouldn't have seen this far. Like Ole Miss and Miami are in the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. There's no Clemson, there's no Georgia, there's no Ohio State, there's no Alabama. There's none of the big dogs anymore. And so now we have guys like Indiana, Oregon, Miami, and Ole Miss. So that in and of itself is a win in my book. So I really like that. I think Ole Miss, like I said, I agree with you regarding like the whole Kiffin thing, and they have a huge chip on their shoulder. And if Ole Miss is able to win even this game, not even just saying a whole national championship, if they win the whole national championship, Lane Kiffin looks like the single biggest idiot in the entire country.
Which would be great because he already looks like one of the single biggest dickheads.
So, but the quarterback, Trinidad, he looks even more spectacular. I was just reading his bio earlier today. He was a Division II player a year ago. Now he's with Ole Miss. He has already in the quarterfinals of the playoffs without the head coach that he played with the whole season. And so for him, his stock could really only kind of go up from here. So he's in a really good spot. And so if they could win and he can go to national championship, that looks really, really good. And I worry about Michael Irvin's cardiologist if Miami wins. I do. And so just for that sake, I want Ole Miss to win.
So my only concern with Ole Miss is they do not play good defense. They just don't. They get beat up on that side of the ball. And, Miami if Miami's able to do what they normally do defensively, Carson Beck is going to be able to score points against the Ole Miss defense. It's just a matter of how much is he going to have to, right?
Yep.
I would tell you, I think if Miami gets to what they did last week against Ohio State, if Miami gets to 24 points, I think Miami wins the football game. All right, because I just don't think Ole Miss is getting to that number against that Miami defense. I just don't see it. Now, look, they're on a heater, and I think they're playing like this in spite of that dickhead that went to LSU. And I'm here for it. I am totally here for it, right? That's tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I have a hard time looking past a defense in Miami that's played that well. I hate Michael Irvin with every ounce of my being. I think he's a complete jackass. He's been a jackass his entire professional life. He was probably a jackass when he was playing Pop Warner football, right? He's like the Barry Bonds kind of mold, right? He's just a dick. And look, and Lou from Dane, if you're still with us, I'm not trying to beat up your guys there too much, but And I get it if you're like, if you thought it was funny. I thought what he did was disgusting, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it was way overboard, but it is Michael Irvin, so you just kind of come to expect that level of behavior out of him. I don't know, man. I'm gonna pick Indiana versus Miami. My heart is gonna be with Indiana versus Ole Miss. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, I think I think I'm there with you. I think there's a good chance that Miami can pull it out, but I think that the Cinderella story is Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree. Lou Mancini. At this point, I want Indiana to win it all. So cool to see them relevant. I agree. Totally agree. It's by and large been a basketball college for forever. Scott Calcaterra, did anyone see Nick Saban lay out the format of college football as it should be set in the future related to the calendar for college football, the portal, and NIL? He was spot on. And Scott, when you get to the portal and NIL and all that stuff, I've talked at length about some of that stuff, and I want to get into more of that as we start running out of college and NFL games to talk about, right? Because I agree with what Scott's saying there, that Saban was spot on. The timeline for the transfers and the coaches leaving and all of that shit, it doesn't – it's not aligned with what's best for the sport right now. And I think that's a great topic to get into, just not this week, probably not for a few weeks here. But that is definitely something I want to talk about when we get to like the off season here, because it's a huge deal and it's becoming a much bigger problem. Fanny, have to give it to Indiana because they shut us down hard, and that was a task in and of itself. Kind of. I'm just not giving Bama any more flowers, man. I'm just not doing it. Keenan, Indiana used to be a basketball powerhouse. They did. I don't know what the hell happened to their basketball pro, although the Big Ten basketball conference this year is actually really, really good. They are fun to watch. You got Michigan's number 2 in the country. Michigan State is a top 10 team. I think they might have fallen out after that loss to Illinois, but Nebraska. But overall, the Big Ten basketball is actually fun to watch. This time of the year, you have the conference play that has started up. So these teams are just beating the hell out of each other. It's always a great time of year. Keenan Harmon again. Better have some Narcan on standby.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I worry about his cardiologist. That's it.
Oh man.
At this pace, Michael Irvin's going to go before Jimmy does. That's just the reality of it.
Lou Mancini, I can feel Fanny's blood boiling, guy. Yeah, well, I mean, look, she's got reason to, I mean, that was a bad showing by her beloved Tide over there. They got beat up on both sides of the ball. They got lit up like a Christmas tree. Lack of a better way to put it. No, they were. It wasn't an overall. The only real exciting game out of that round was the Ole Miss Georgia game. The rest of them were kind of duds. The early game was Oregon, Texas Tech, and that was like I should have just taken a nap. Alabama, Indiana, you hoped for a good one, and Christ, that was brutal. Yep. Miami, Ohio State, I mean, they have some defense, but you got to like that kind of football in order to sit down and watch that. And then, of course, Ole Miss, Georgia, and the Sugar Bowl. That was the most exciting one. Of course, it ends on everybody's throwing a fit about safeties and field goals, and it's like, just shut up, dude. Like, you had a lead, you blew it. Ole Miss won. Out you go.
Yeah, if you're so I heard someone say this, and while I like it in spirit, it may not be technically true, but I like the spirit of it. If the game comes down to one play, like, if we just didn't miss that last second field goal, we would have won the game, then you didn't really win the game. If everything comes down to one play, you didn't really win the game in any meaningful sense. And so, while technically that's incorrect, but in the large spirit of things, 100%. If it comes down to like, this one safety just killed the whole game. If we didn't have that safety, the whole game would be, then you didn't really win the game, did you?
No, and it's the same thing I get into when people start blaming refs for everything, which is a common thing across the land now.
Never heard of
the refs cost us the refs cost us the game. No, asshole. What you did as a team is you left it in their hands. And I've said it for years. If you leave the game in the hands of the Zebras, you deserve whatever outcome happens. Take care of your business. Don't, there's going to be bad calls. We all know it. It's going to happen. Don't leave it in their hands. Take care of your shit. Done.
The football gods giveth and the football gods taketh away.
Hey, giveth and taketh away. Absolutely true. All right. So I think we're in agreement there. We're both rooting for Indiana and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Yep.
I've got Indiana versus Miami in the final. Are you taking Miami or Ole Miss?
No, I agree with. I'm hoping for Ole Miss, but I think if we're following the storyline and the history of how these matchups typically go with a great defense and a great offense, then it's really on the backside. It's the secondary offense and the secondary defense that has a real game.
Yep.
And going based off of Indiana, Ohio State, I think Miami probably has a better shot of winning there. And so it's probably going to be Miami and Indiana, but fingers crossed or Ole Miss.
Same. All right. I've caught up with the room. We're caught up with college football. We got about 23 minutes left. Let's move to the varsity, where you get the wild card weekend, which is a span of 3 days, which annoys the piss out of me, to be honest with you. I am pleased with the window we fell into. Right, I wanted either game on Saturday or either early window on Sunday. I wanted no part of Sunday night or Monday night. I hate the fucking primetime stuff. It drives me nuts. A lot of that is for the planning purposes for our nest out here and the late night and all of that stuff. But
sure,
I'm happy with where we're sitting. But the first 2 games are where are we at here? The 10th, right? So Panthers and Rams at 4:30 on Saturday. Now, this is going to be one of these age-old arguments, and people throw a fit about it, though it does not happen often. Not often enough for people to go 2 bananas over it, where you have a division winner with a losing record that is now going to host a playoff game against a wild card team that has a far superior record, right? Mm-hmm. So Carolina's at home against the Rams. Now, the Rams, you and I talked briefly before we started the show about the MVP stuff with May and Stafford. And you know my thoughts that Stafford was probably the MVP of the league, hands down, had the Rams just completed the regular season job, which was win your division and get the number 1 seed, right? They were on course, and they kind of fluttered. Some of that due to a banged-up Devontae Adams. Puka Nacua, if he catches 3 balls in a row, he then has to go out and get his ribs checked. This is the thing with him almost all the time, despite the fact that he still puts up crazy amounts of numbers. And these one-handed grabs that this kid comes up with are fucking insane. Look, I think it would be absolutely hysterical if we saw a repeat of when the 11-5 Saints had to be a wild card and go play at the 7-9 division-winning Seattle Seahawks, and we got beast mode, beast quake, and the Seahawks just ran over the Saints. I think it would be absolutely hysterical if the Panthers did that to the Rams on Saturday. I'm sorry. Marshawn Lynch is not going to sashay out onto that field and start shoving people around. Dude. And I still do not believe in Bryce Young as a legit NFL starting quarterback. Winning, I don't think he's a guy you can look at me. He's my guy that's going to take me to Super Bowl. I don't think they're that team. Very surprising season. Before the year started, I was contemplating putting a $5 bet down on the Panthers not winning a game this year. I know they finished last season stronger, but they still weren't all that good. And it was just kind of how I felt about Carolina. Well, they win their division, albeit because Tampa just fell off the map, and the NFC South is a dumpster fire, and somebody has to be the tallest midget. So here's Carolina at home against the Rams team with the Vegas odds-on favorite to win the MVP award at quarterback. Sounds like Devontae Adams is going to be back on the field, so now you're going to have to contend with him and Nacua, along with Kyron Williams coming out of the backfield. And for the life of me, their tight end, I cannot remember his name.
Higbee
Higbee. And then, of course, you got Jared Verse coming after your cornerback on the other side. Look, the Rams are favored by 10.5 on the road in this playoff game. That might be a little much. In a playoff game, NFL, I would never lay 10.5 points. But I've got the Rams here, and I'm not sure how difficult it's really going to be.
No, I think, this is going to be a very quick kind of a review of the whole matchup. The Rams are going to win this. It's going to be walk in the park. I do hear your point on the division winners and stuff like that. I know Jerry Jones had brought up a couple of years ago that we should just kind of have just the best records get in. I'm still a little bit of an old. Yeah, I'm a little bit of an old head. I think that divisions matter, and I kind of would rather have the format we have now than turning the NFL into the NBA, where divisions don't even really exist. So I think the consequences of that are this, where you have a 12-5 Rams team on the road in the playoffs against an 8-9 division winner Carolina Panthers. But I also want to throw in one little thing here. Yeah. That NFC South, shitty as it is, right? No Super Bowl winning teams are going to come from that division. It was a very the race coming down. It was a very tight race. There were three teams that were 8-9, and then there's the Saints. Three teams are 8-9. So kudos to the Panthers for surviving that long. I hope that Bryce puts up a little bit of a fight. I disagree with you a little bit. I think that the Rams could very easily lay 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points of victory on here.
Let me correct you. I didn't say they can't. I'm just saying I wouldn't lay the points in a playoff game. I'm not saying they can't go out and beat them.
You wouldn't wager it?
I wouldn't put money on that big of a spread in a playoff game. That's just me. I'm a little cautious. So.
I'm a little cautious.
Not that I can't see it. I could totally see the Rams just absolutely annihilate
I gotcha.
the Panthers. Yeah.
It's a little bit disrespectful, especially in the playoffs, to kind of have a line that large. So I can kind of hear you on that point. It's quite disrespectful, but accurate nonetheless.
I don't think there's much to break down in that game, dude. I just don't. It's. I mean, when you got Vegas telling you 10.5 on the road, and that's 3 points for the home team. So if this thing was in LA, they're telling you it's a 2-touchdown game, and I think that's probably accurate.
Oh yeah.
Scott Calcaterra, right? Scott Calcaterra with a good question here. By the way, where's the damn fine against Jeremy Reeves for the illegal hip drop tackle on Grant? Scott, I will tell you, when they showed the replay, everyone at the back porch exploded. Roger and I, first and foremost, screaming at the television, that's a fucking hip drop. They did not throw the flag, which pissed us off. And then I had to hear from that rules expert off that every network employs. And he was trying to get I listened, like he talked for 3 minutes about how they look at it and how get rid of the rule. Because if you're expecting an NFL referee in that moment with those big guys moving that fast to evaluate all of those things and make a call, you're insane. To me, this is another thing that the NFL needs to adopt from college. Same way with the targeting. The refs are taught in the NFL with this is what we learned on Sunday. Don't throw the flag. I think if it's a question, throw it and let it automatically go to replay. Take 30 to 60 seconds. If it's not there and you can't really pin it, then pick up the flag and move on. But I think had they thrown the flag and done that review in this one, I think you would have gotten your 15 yards. And if it's supposed to be a penalty with a fine, that kid should have gotten fined on Monday morning, and it didn't happen. So I'm with Scott. That pissed me off. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with it, but Scott asked.
I'm not sure how often they've called that this year.
They haven't.
I haven't seen a
single. It's because of all shit that they have to evaluate of whether or not it's actually a hip drop. Dude, it's moving too fast. You can't have a ref try to get it. It's a stupid fucking thing. Either make the call and let the booth review it, or just do away with the whole rule altogether, because it's obnoxious at this point. All right, so we're both in agreement that the Rams just roll here, right? That's not really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday night, you've got Bears hosting the Packers. This is the oldest rivalry in football, right?
Yep.
Bears and Packers. They've played, 847,000 times or whatever the fuck it is.
And one.
And one, right? Unfortunately for the Packers, they are all kinds of beat up. And on the defensive side of the ball, once they lost Micah Parsons, that really, really hurt their chances here.
Yeah.
I just picture a Packers team that was already in but could not move up. And they're just looking at these things play out and going, our fucking options are either going to Philly or going to Chicago. Really? Damn it, dude. Maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable playing against the Bears because of the familiarity. And am I looking at this right where Green Bay is favored by 1.5?
Yeah. The money line is approximately pretty much even, but yeah, they have Green Bay by 1.5.
I don't understand. I don't know how that's.
I don't know how. No,
I don't get it at all. Now I'm not saying the Bears are going to come out and just roll them like the Rams rolled the Panthers, but I don't know, man. This Packers
the Bears will win this game, but it won't be a dominant win.
No, I don't think it will be either. I think they'll win it, maybe win it ugly, but it's in Chicago, right? Like you got to feel.
Yeah, it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago.
And the weather's not really going to impact the Packers too much because the Packers are from Green Bay, of course. Right. So, cool. I mean, I would be very comfortable taking Chicago spread on that, 110%.
It's got me wanting to hop on the thing when we're done here and put a little coin on that one. You're going to give me 1.5 and I take Chicago at home? Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that bet. That feels a little nuts to me. Look, I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan. Okay, I'm just not. However, he has gotten way better than he was his rookie season, and he seems to have gotten better somewhat throughout the year. Early in the season, we saw them when they were kind of on script with those first 15 to 25 plays. He looked great, and then once the flow of the game came in, he kind of looked like shit. We've seen kind of a change with that. He's able to improvise a little bit more. He's gotten better. He does have the benefit of being at home.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in the year, with the Packers and their injuries and whatnot, I just think the Bears are better. Like, it may not be by much, but I just think they're better.
No, yeah, 100%.
I've got the Bears here.
Mm-hmm.
You want to call it a touchdown? I'm good with that. But I mean, you're going to give me 1.5 and I get the Bears? Yeah, I'll take that easily.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're looking at. To be fully honest with you, I don't see how the Packers are minus 1.5 here on the road against Chicago with the aforementioned, injuries. And Micah Parsons was a huge. I mean, that is just crushing for Green Bay.
It's a killer.
You trade the whole farm. And then you lose. You don't even have the guy for the playoffs, and that's horrible. So, but it's real. I mean, you want to talk about the disrespect of putting -10 on the Panthers at home or on the Rams. Having the state of this game with the Bears as the underdog at home is crazy. I remember when it was 2017 and we were underdogs in the playoffs. They still have their starting quarterback, and their opponent is missing their biggest defensive player. I'm not seeing what they're seeing. I would love to take the Bears, plus, whatever there is. So, yeah, I think that the Bears should win this. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. It could be maybe Bears by 4.
Yeah, 4, 7, 3, something. I just think the Bears
definitely a single possession
better. Yeah, I don't think it's a double-digit thing, but
no.
Yeah, wow, look at the money line on that. Over under at 45.5. Hey, what a weird
I think the under on that.
Thing. Yeah, I like the under. I like the Bears and the under on that one. What was the over on the Panthers Rams? This should be hysterical.
Oh, that was 45. 46.5.
So, so Rams by 10.5 and over at 46.
Yeah. They're betting on the Rams to just light it up and the Panthers to do nothing.
I find that hysterical. What else do we have over here? Keenan Harmon. Hurts when targeting crossing routes in 2025. 32 of 38, second highest completion percentage, by the way. 329
right.
passing yards, 3 TDs, 129.1 passing rating. However, the Eagles ran crossing routes at the third lowest rate. Yep. That's kind of everything Mason and I have been talking about for a few months here. The play
Sounds about
calling
right.
just sucks ass.
Sounds about right.
Scott Calcaterra, it's the Bo Jackson rule, ended his career. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. That was against the Cincinnati Bengals, by the way. If anybody needed that trivia answer. Lou Mancini, I'm hoping that our birds whip out some Mr. All right, we'll get to the birds here in just a minute. I don't want to ignore you guys, but we're kind of going in order of like how these games are going. So we're going to get to the birds here in just a second. So those are the Saturday games. We both got the Rams just smashing the Panthers and the Bears winning, maybe not by much, but winning. So now we move to Sunday. And your 1 o'clock game on Sunday, pretty intriguing. You got Buffalo at 12-5, heading to a 13-4, very quietly good Jacksonville team.
Yep.
I've not to this point been a big believer in Sunshine. Matter of fact, I was pretty much out on him coming into this year. New coach, they look a little better. They're at home, but yet here's another home dog. Here's Buffalo, favored by 1.5 heading into Jacksonville. I can't imagine Jacksonville's got much of a, home field type of dominant presence. It's not like they're walking into Philadelphia here, right? This is Jacksonville. From everything I've heard about it, it's a terrible place to go.
I think that people there forget there's a team there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of people in Florida forget they have more than just the Dolphins. My thoughts on this, look, quarterback, I think the Bills' defense is overrated. I think they get treated as better than they are because their head coach is a defensive guy, Sean McDermott. And I think in certain situations they perform well, but overall, they've been known to get lit up a few times too. To me, this does come down to the quarterback play. And now you got Sunshine versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen, who knows that he does not have to go through Kansas City. He doesn't have to deal with Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have to deal with Joe Burrow. If he's going to do it, this has to be the year. Given the experience and given the fact that I've seen Allen perform well in the playoffs, my money's on Buffalo. They also come into the game with the NFL rushing champion in Cook. Sorry, mine drew a blank there. I know that's a ragtag bunch of receivers, right? Shakir acts as their number one. He's probably better suited as a low end too, but they do have dominant tight end play. They have a decent offensive line. And Josh Allen is 6'5", 240 pounds, runs like a deer, and has a fucking cannon. I'm sorry, Sunshine, but I got Buffalo. And if you're going to tell me I got to lay 1.5, hey, no problem. I'll take Buffalo, and I'll take them by a touchdown.
Yeah, this is going to be a vacation for Buffalo, being in the sun a little bit. It's going to be nice for them to not be in Buffalo. But the storylines here are really interesting, at least to me. You have Josh Allen, who has lived in the shadow of both. I mean, not saying he's won a lot, but you have Lamar Jackson. Then you have Patrick Mahomes, always kind of being the kid who gets left out a little bit. And so Josh is definitely feeling the pressure.
He's got
that Lamar's also feeling. You can win all the MVPs you want, but we all know what drives you crazy at night. And so Josh Allen, every single year, I mean, his biological clock is ticking. All right. And so he knows that his window, he's still in it, but it doesn't last forever. And so
how many more chances is he going to get where he doesn't have to deal with Mahomes, Jackson, or Burrow in the playoff situation? Right.
Exactly. And so on the other hand, you have the home team. You have Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence finally coming into his shell a little bit. This was supposed to be like the second coming of Andrew Luck, the second coming of Peyton Manning. He was the stereotypical quarterback prototype. He is him. And ever since he entered the league, he hasn't been him. This year, he's kind of looked like him. I don't know the last time I've seen the Jags win, 13 games or lose only 4. A couple of years ago, they went, I think it was 11-5 with a great defense and an average or above average offense. So from that perspective, I think that Trevor has a chip on his shoulder to prove that he is that guy. And what better way to prove it than to continue Josh Allen's continued career trajectory of being Jim Kelly and never really making it that far into the playoffs. Jim Kelly lost 4 times, but
4 Super Bowls.
Not 4 Super Bowls. So he Kelly got there, but at right now, both Josh and Jim have done exact same for Buffalo, winning 0. So Josh feels that. Trevor is starting to feel that. He's starting to get into the upper echelon, but I think Josh has to come out of he has to make a push this year because it's a tough AFC with the Broncos and the Patriots, but the Bills, man, Josh Allen knows his time's running out, and so he's got to strike iron.
I think it's interesting. Lawrence did throw 4,000 yards. He had 29 touchdowns. He also did throw 12 interceptions. You got to wonder, what does this look like if Travis Hunter's healthy, right?
Mm.
Like, Patrick Washington's been a nice player and all, but if Travis Hunter's part of this mix, how much better are they? And does that swing the pendulum a little bit? I'm still on Buffalo, right? I've had a little bit of a semi-man crush on Josh Allen for a few years now. Most of the room knows it. I just think he's incredibly talented. I liked when Buffalo picked him out of Wyoming because it was kind of what are you doing taking a quarterback from Wyoming?
Right.
He's a big, strong kid, all kinds of athletic, huge arm. In that nasty weather in Buffalo, I just needed somebody to kind of rein him in, and he ended up with Brian Daboll, which helped. And you see what he's become now. The only problem you have with Buffalo is that Allen will, from time to time, turn into a turnover machine, whether he's fumbling it, throwing bad errant passes, or whatever. I gotta believe he feels like this is his year. He has to feel that way. If you look at the AFC playoffs and really the playoffs overall, I don't know that you can pick out a clear-cut favorite. The road to the Super Bowl going through Denver is a fucking problem, right? The number 2 seed having to go to New England. If you've never been to Foxborough, Massachusetts in January, don't. It's the coldest place on the face of the earth. But that's also an issue. I just still looking at the bracket, like find me the team where you can't poke holes, right? Like last year, we were the 2 seed, but by the time it got to that point, was there any doubt who the best team in the league was? No. There wasn't. We were the best team in the league, and once we got past the Rams, it was a smoke show after that. My money's on Buffalo. I'll lay the 1.5. I don't have any trouble with that at all. I think Trevor Lawrence, nice season, nice bounce back year. He's got something to build on now. But man, they're calling 51.5 on the over on this. They're looking for a shootout, which I think would be a lot of fun for the 1:00 game. Get the Sunday started out right. High energy. Let's go. So I like Buffalo or Jacksonville? You like Buffalo?
No, I like Buffalo too. I like Buffalo by maybe 3 or 4 here. It's not going to be a large margin. I think it'll go back and forth a little bit, but I do think that I think Buffalo ends the game, and I think that they have possession when the zeros hit. I think they have possession. I think it's
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Now you move to the 4th. Now, a lot of times we like to save the birds for last, but we'll go ahead and just stay in chronological order here.
Mm-hmm.
Birds home against the Niners. Now, look, I'm going to throw my opinion out there on Nick Sirianni's decisions over the last couple of weeks. When you played everyone the entire game against Buffalo. Okay. Now, I'm not saying he should have sat everybody. You can't sit everybody for 2 weeks. You can't do that.
Right.
But when you kept them in the whole game, in that bad weather, we had 4 different injury scares during that game. Saquon, Britton Covey, Jalen Phillips, and the fourth one I can't quite recall.
It's not coming to mind either for me.
There were four of them there.
Right.
But you still kept everybody in. You got the win, right? By the skin of your fucking teeth, right? Then Chicago goes and loses. So now you're there. And then you go and sit everyone against Washington. And lo and behold, Detroit wins. Detroit beats Chicago. So that 2 seed was there to be had. Look, I'm not saying you should have played everyone the entire game against Washington.
Right.
I would have, once you got that win against Buffalo and Chicago lost, and it came down to that last game, and you're both playing at the same time, I would have put the starters on the field to start the game. And I would have scoreboard watched. And if Chicago started to run away with it, I would have pulled everybody off the field. That's it. That's the way I would have treated it. The fact that he didn't do any of that, I mean, Smitty was out there to start the game, but we all know that was just to get the 1,000 yards. You did see Jordan Davis on a rotation on defense, but it was mostly backups all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed. But, truth be told, we still had that game won if we just would have executed. Again, can cry in your soup all you want. Here we are. We're the 3 seed. We're home against San Francisco. I think an overrated San Francisco team that benefited greatly from a weak schedule. They are coming into this game with Juwan Jennings as their number 1 wide receiver. Okay. That means I get to put Quinion Mitchell on him. Quinion Mitchell, who doesn't get beat by actual number 1 wide receivers, not number 3s. 49ers are also without Bosa, and it looks like they're going to start 2 basically practice squad linebackers. I know offense hasn't been our thing, but I got to tell you, man, if we're not in the mid-20s pushing 30 points on this one, I'm going to be pretty upset. I don't see how the Niners, when it's basically Kittle and McCaffrey, I just don't see how the Niners are able to keep pace. I think they're too beat up with injuries. I just don't see it. I think it's birds. 4.5 is probably right. Call it a touchdown and move on.
I wish I shared that same sentiment. Honestly, the Niners make me a little bit, little nervous, to be honest with you. Of course, I think everyone would rather be versing the Panthers right now than the Niners, but we made our bed. We made our bed. With the Niners, the only thing that's playing in my head over and over and over is that Bears game, where the Bears didn't really have an all-star tight end. They didn't have an all-star wide receiver, and they had 2 running backs. One of them, which I never even heard of before the game even started. And I think he ran over 100 yards on us. Yeah, and so the Niners also have a running back. His name is Christian McCaffrey. I'm not sure if
best running back in football.
I'm not sure if anybody has heard of him. And they also have one of the better tight ends in the league in George Kittle. And instead of having offensive mind like Ben Johnson or whatever, we're going up against a Kyle Shanahan who's pretty good at offensive football. And so I don't say that as to say that our defense is going to be problematic, which is why we're going to lose the game, because our defense is on lock, and I'm very confident about our defense. But it is our offense. It always has been the offense. We sound like a broken record because of this offense. It largely, like I said, every single time I run through this game in my head, I just say the same thing would happen with Chicago. If the offense shows up, we win. If the offense does not show up, we will lose. In Chicago, I was at that game. The 2 times that we went no huddle, we scored back to back, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once we went away from that, we stopped scoring touchdowns, and then we lost the game. Granted, the defense had a little bit of a slip up. We said the whole year that you cannot rely on a red hot defense the entire year.
You can't.
They're going to have some games where they're going to trip up, and they did, and we got tripped up. So now's the playoffs. You're never guaranteed next week.
Nope.
So you have to make sure that you're on your A game every single play. Every series, every quarter, every half has to be perfect. This is just not an Eagles team who has displayed the ability to do that. They have not. I'm not sure if there's been a single game the entire year where we can say, you know what, if that team shows up in the playoffs, then we're good. I'm not going to take the Raiders game because that's the Raiders. I'm not going to take the Giants game because it's the Giants. We just have not. Maybe the first half of the Cowboys, but the Cowboys game just proved that we can't do that the whole game.
Yep.
So as much as I want to be an optimist and I want to give them some benefit of the doubt, they've ran out of benefit of the doubt from me. I've given it for months on end, for weeks, months, and they have left me with egg on my face. And so, honestly, I see Philly minus 4.5, and I think that's generous. I think if we win this game at all, I think it's a field goal. But man, do I hope to be wrong.
So here's the one thing I will say. If we come out and we play on the offensive side of the ball the way we have been playing against better teams, right? And I'm not saying Frisco's a bad team. I'm just saying I think their record and everything is a little misleading based on the schedule they play. I still think they're a decent team. If we come out and we play on the offensive side of the ball the way we have all year against decent teams, what happens is, as great as the defense can play and I believe will play, what happens is you're in a one-possession game when your offense isn't doing much. And all it takes is Quinton Mitchell slips. Somebody slips, right?
That's a great
point.
One
broken play, and you're fucked, right? We're up 17-13 with 4 minutes to go, and Frisco's got the ball. And, snap and, Mitchell, say they get away with a big play, something like that. Somebody slips up. It's all it takes is one mistake when you leave no room for error like that. That would be the only call out I would have. Outside of that, apart from that, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that the 49ers are going to be able to do a whole lot offensively. You saw what Seattle's defense did to them, right? And that's Seattle. And I know they play great on the defensive side of the ball, but so do we, right? And that was Sam Darnold, not Jalen Hurts. That was, I understand Jackson Smith and Jigba, but it's not Brown and Smitty.
Yeah,
it's just different. And I'm not going to come out here and say that I have this world of confidence that we're going to come out and just smash them, because every week this year has felt like an afternoon full of cardiac arrest. But I do feel confident in winning the football game, and I personally would lay the 4.5. That's just me, because I just don't see the Niners as strongly as some other folks do. I get it, McCaffrey kinds of. Not only is he the most talented running back in football, if you pulled him out of the backfield and made him your slot receiver, he's probably the best slot receiver in football the minute that happens. So I mean, he's that talented. But when you've only got to take that one guy, there's no Brandon Ayuk, right? Debo's gone. Who's the kid that got shot in the stomach?
Pearsall?
Pearsall. It doesn't look like he's going to be on the field. So you're literally talking about a wide receiver core where their number one is likely to be Juwan Jennings. Nice receiver, don't get me wrong, but a lot like Shakir, better served as a low-end 2 or high-end 3, right? He's not a number one. And so when it does come to man coverage, it's Quinton fucking Mitchell, who doesn't give up shit to Jamar Chase, doesn't give up shit to CeeDee Lamb. Like, dude, I get the apprehension, but I got to feel confident that the Niners are going to walk into something that they're a little bit overmatched this time.
I definitely hear on that end. I will just remind you, or just remind everyone, we are talking about the same Eagles team that beat Green Bay 10-7 and only beat Detroit by 13-10. So it's never that I doubt the defense, because the defense, although they are prone to blinking, this is sort of this is a Vic Fangio, Howie Roseman defense. This is, they're clicking on all cylinders. It's always the offense that holds them back, and I I don't care about the Raiders that much, to be honest with
No,
you.
I
'Cause the
didn't put any
Raiders,
stock in that game.
and so we didn't exactly offensively dominate Buffalo either. And I really hate that the weather was not very good, because I really valued that game as a true test. Like, okay, I get that we're like 2 weeks out. I get it. And it's really late for like a temperature check. But this is a good like report card to see, okay, where exactly are we in terms of competitiveness with playoff teams. The weather pretty much neutralized everything, and it really didn't give a proper showing of how good we are compared to a playoff caliber team. And so we can only kind of go back to earlier games. And so, like I said, this is the Eagles team that beat the Packers 10-7. And we beat the Lions, who barely missed in the playoffs, but missed in the playoffs 13-10. So we haven't exactly proven ourselves to be offensive juggernauts. And like your point was superb. Your point was superb. When it comes to defense, it's a one possession game. And we've come out on top of a lot of one possession games, but you can't win like that forever.
No, you cannot. And I would be very careful if I was a Denver Broncos fan on that stat. All right, for the room, I want you guys to fire back with your picks for the Birds game while Mason and I take care of the last two games on the wild card weekend schedule. I think, Mason, did I hear you have the Birds winning this? Or
yeah, I think if we pull it out, I think I don't like the -4. I think if we do win, it's -3. I'll take a -3 if we do win it all.
Yeah. All right. And I've got the Birds, and I think we cover. I'm super optimistic, dude. It's a brand new fucking year. It's 2026.
New Year's resolution is a better offense.
Guys and girls in the room, I want your picks for the Birds while we're talking about these last two games here.
All right.
So we get to Sunday night. This is the Patriots at home hosting the Chargers. I'm just going to say it right now. I hate the Chargers in this matchup.
Yeah.
First and foremost, coming all the way across the country is unpleasant. Secondly, you are a Southern California team coming to the coldest place in the fucking universe in January in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Believe me, I've been there a few different times. They may say the temperature is 35 degrees. They're fucking lying to you. It's colder than that. I promise. Look, the Pats, again, another team that did benefit from a weaker schedule this year. But they also played the most consistent football throughout the course of the season, if you want my opinion on it. Them, maybe Denver, and honorable mention to Seattle. But, dude, and I'm sorry, but until I see Justin Herbert win in a big spot, whether it be a big regular season game or a playoff game, until I actually see it, I am not going to believe it. I'll go back to last year. That Chargers team was better than Houston. And that kid went out there, and was it 4 interceptions he threw that night? He was
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely horrible in these big moments. This is the same Justin Herbert who just a couple of years ago had, a 21 or 24-point lead at halftime over Jacksonville and yacked on it in the second half. Like, I can't with Justin Herbert until he actually delivers in a big spot. Maybe this is the year. Maybe O'Marion Hampton's the difference, right? Maybe Harbaugh is the difference. I don't know. What I do know is what my eyes have seen to this point, and Herbert is not that guy. So I got Drake May, who, if I had a vote for MVP, it would go to him. As much as I want to throw up in my mouth looking at the Patriots being good again, I was ready for them to stink for a decade. Here they are at home hosting a playoff game against an LA team that's come all the way across the country, coached by Mike Vrabel, who should win Coach of the Year or at least be right there. I've got the Patriots. The line is 3.5. I would double it and still feel comfortable. Until Herbert shows me, I don't believe in him.
I largely can accept the sentiment there. There's a lot of things that go against the Chargers here. Crossing time zones, and of course, going from a controlled temperature AC dome to the harsh Russian winters of New England.
That's not a reason considered a dome, right? They get credit for being over there. Yeah. It's kind of fucked up, but it's the truth.
There's a reason why Tom Brady used to wear scuba suits whenever he'd play playoff games up in New England, because he needed it. So that's definitely going to affect the Chargers a certain amount. I am not as high. I kind of buy into the propaganda here with New England kind of being a little bit micro frauds. They're good. Don't get me wrong, but I think that their schedule definitely helped with that 14-3 record. They're going to win. I don't think that I'm not going that far. If there is a game where Herbert kind of pulls it out, it'll be this game and shows, hey, I'm an actual quarterback in the National Football League who belongs in the same tiers as Lamar and Josh Allen, people who win playoff games. So this is yet another chance for him to do so, but he's going up against the Patriots in Foxborough in January. Not exactly, ideal. So I think the Patriots, the line right here is -3.5. I like it right where it is. I like a 3, maybe 3, maybe 4, because I don't think the Patriots are that good, but man, that weather's gonna be brutal.
I think the line is fair where it is. I'm just saying I have very little faith in Justin Herbert to go and win in these situations.
No, sure.
Aspect, I would feel comfortable even doubling it and still be okay. Yeah, so we've both got New England there, and a lot of it due to the home field thing. I totally get it, and I'm on that. I just don't. Herbert's going to have to show now. If he goes up there and wins that game, I'll back the fuck off. Right? I will shut up. I will back off, and I will become, because I actually like Justin Herbert. I think he's got all the physical tools in the world. Right? He's not exactly slow for a guy his size. He's got a cannon for an arm. He is a good quarterback. He just tends to fold up like a cheap suit when those lights turn up bright. And
is he going to be another Matthew Stafford?
Is he going to be Stafford?
It's going to be another Matthew Stafford.
Shit ton of really bad Detroit Lions.
Yeah, but I mean the build is the same though.
The build is
guy who, I mean, back in the day, when his younger years, Stafford wasn't Tom Brady. He could run a little bit. It wasn't his first mode of transportation, but he could run. And Stafford's always had a kid of an arm.
He's got nice hair too.
There you go.
Some Birds predictions coming in here. Rock and Raj. This is Roger, one of our Midwest Eagles Nest OGs. He's got 24-17 Birds. I like that one. Keenan Harmon, Birds 2020, Whiners 14. Dev, another Midwest Eagles Nest stalwart, 23-7 Birds. That's a big number. David Loeb, David Loeb usually has the boldest predictions. He's got the 31-17. I know it's not as big a spread as what Dev is saying, but David's always got us scoring 30 points, which I am a fan of. Lou Mancini also echoes David Loeb. If we score 30, we're easily winning that game.
If we score 20, I'd be impressed.
If we score 20, look, I have said the whole time, if we can score 3 touchdowns offensively and average that every week, nobody's beating us. They're not, because the defense is going to stop everyone.
Outside of Dallas, but maybe,
yeah. Fuck Dallas. So then we come to the final game of the weekend, which this one's going to be ugly, dude.
It's gross. It's a gross game.
Look, the Steelers.
Look at the total. You see the total there?
What is it, 14.5?
That's 39.5. Close.
39.5. Yeah, and you know what? I would not be surprised if the under hit at all. Look, the Texans don't score. Game. The Texans don't score. We all know it, but what they do well is they play incredibly tough defense, and they get after the quarterback better than everyone in football. The Steelers, look, you got in because the AFC North was another division where everyone else in it threw up all over themselves.
Yeah.
Baltimore should have, when Lamar came back healthy, the defense started to get a little bit healthy. They had a weak spot in their schedule when that happened. They should have took off and ran, and it didn't happen. And it left the door open for the Steelers team with Aaron Rodgers. Now, they will have DK Metcalf back for this one, which, obviously plays a role. I just don't trust the Steelers in this at all. Like, and I know we're talking about another home playoff team, but it's a 10-7 home playoff team. Again, they're in because tallest midget, right? Just like the NFC South. This is the AFC North. It's the same outcome. Granted, they have a winning record. I get it. Texans by 3. That's probably a fair line because I don't think either offense is going to go out here and light up the scoreboard. But to think the Steelers are going to – Aaron Rodgers is likely to get his clock cleaned a few different times in this game, right? Steelers spend $170.5 million on their fucking defense. That's out of whack, right? Kenny Gainwell's had a nice season for them. They do well with him and Warren out of the backfield. They've got that big monstrous tight end. What's his name? Washington or whatever.
Oh, they're not Washington. He's not playing.
Yeah, and he's out.
He's out.
Right. So there's one of your weapons that you can't. So it's DK Metcalf, and I know Rodgers gets rid of the ball quick, but he's going to have to get rid of it even quicker in this contest.
Yeah, Metcalf, Scotty Miller. You got Calvin Austin. You got Jalen Warren. Yeah. Kenny G.
I don't think that. Look, he gets rid of the ball quick. He's going to have to get rid of it even quicker.
Yeah, Pat Freiermuth.
The Steelers' offensive line is not going to be able to withstand that pass rush. And they don't have to blitz to get home either. So that just leaves another defender back there. I like the line at 3. If you want to put the points into the mix, it might be a push. Speaking of fucking 17-14 game, 20-17 type of thing, 14-10. 14-10
honestly,
is totally on the table. But I would take the Texans. I just think they're better. I don't think much of the Steelers. I really don't.
This will probably be the first big disagreement we have. Not saying the Steelers are a better football team than the Texans, but a lot goes in their favor. The Texans have a really good defense, of course, but they're going from a Southern Dome to the harsh Pittsburgh January weather, so that's always tough. And I mean, this is Aaron Rodgers, and so he's of elder age, but he still has some pieces around him. Will it be enough to completely, overpower a Texans defense? I don't think so, but there's also 2 sides of the ball here, and so when you have Pittsburgh's defense, you have TJ Watt, of course. So this is a really good time for them to kind of home field advantage with the weather, play tough Pittsburgh defense. I think there's a chance that Pittsburgh actually wins this one. So I think because of that, I would probably take Pittsburgh like 2 or 3, but I would not.
I could say I'm taking Houston, but it's not like I think they're going to go out there and just decimate. Right? Like I can see that. You can see it going either way. I just think it's easily the ugliest game of the weekend.
No, 100%. I saw that and I
oh, you cringe, dude. You're thanking God it's Monday night so you can just go to bed and not have to watch it. Right?
It's gross.
All right. So across the board, we're dead on with each other except for that one. I've got Houston. You've got Pittsburgh. Everything else is kind of business as usual. You get the Rams over the Panthers, which that game's likely to be ugly too, although it should be entertaining because the Rams are likely to light them up. So at least you get some fun. On the NFC side, we've got the Rams, Birds, and Bears. AFC side, we've got the Chargers, Bills, and then we defer with Houston and
man, they just made the Bears and Packers game even.
Are they watching this fucking show?
Chicago had a slight edge. Now it's even.
Yeah, I should have put that bet in while we were on here.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, let's get over to the room here before we wrap it up. I want to make sure we're paying attention to what these jokers are doing over here. Hey, everybody's picking the Birds, some closer than others. I tend to lean more towards what Roger and Keenan are looking at, which is a 24-17 or 20-14 type of thing. Birds over the Winers. I love when people come out and like Dev, he's got us winning by 16, right? And you got David Loeb and Lou Mancini have us both winning by 14. Construction in the field. Who is this?
Oh, that's my dad.
That's your dad. All right.
That's
I
my
was
dad.
gonna ask. I just saw construction. I'm like, So he is also in line with Lou and with David. Birds 31-17. I love it. I don't feel as strongly, but I love it. I do want to mention David Conant here. David Conant, very good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time now. He is a 49ers fan. We won't hold that against him. But even he has admitted, like, our defense is decimated with injuries. He thinks his Niners don't have much of a chance.
That makes it even more
Him and I talked
disappointing when we lay
earlier
an egg.
and yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I like the parity here. You have some folks that are a little bit more conservative, which is the way I would pick it. And then you've got your folks who are just like, fuck that, we're going to blow them out. And don't get me wrong.
I hope too.
I'm hoping to lay the burger on them.
Listen,
dude, but
some of y'all are saying 30 points. I'm saying I'll be impressed if they score 20.
Right. That's where I'm at with it. If you give me 21 points, we win the football game. I think it's that simple. We get in the end zone 3 times. I think that's enough to beat San Francisco. I'm not so sure it would be enough to go to Chicago and win. But, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. Mason, final thoughts, brother, before we get the hell on out of here.
College football playoffs. I mean, it's a lot more exciting now that the old guard isn't there, so we get to see a lot more personalities out of schools we don't typically see. Ole Miss has a big old chip on their shoulder, and Indiana is kind of like the second Cinderella story. I mean, I didn't even know that Indiana was that big of a school potentially for football until this year. So it's been a really cool seeing them kind of explode in stature there. Indiana's probably going to run away with it though. But Matt, I think me and you are definitely be watching that Miami and Ole Miss game pretty closely to see what's going to happen there. NFL wild card. You see a lot of games that are tight, a couple of games that are gross, and other games that are really big for cinematic purposes. You have Allen, you have Trevor, and then you have Justin, who's looking to earn his stripes, and you have the Patriots who are trying to prove that they are who they say they are. And then, of course, you have the Philadelphia identity crisis, where we try to figure out how to play football any given week.
Well said, young man. Well said. I'm kind of with you. That Jacksonville and Buffalo game is. I'm happy that's the 1:00 game on Sunday. I think I'm hoping it sets the tone for the day, where it's a lot of slugfest and back and forth, and we get a lot of juice out of that one. Of course, I don't want to see a back and forth battle at 4:30. I want that to be a very one-sided fucking affair. You know what I mean?
I take you for an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I don't know what would Dallas. What gave it away? Steelers Texans. I will probably not even watch. Either that or I'll have it on as I'm passing out. Rams Panthers. I'll watch because I don't know what the fuck else I'm going to do on a Saturday. Bears Packers. I will always watch because it's Bears Packers. I guess so. We picked who we picked, but if I thought there was the chance for a true upset, now I understand the Bills being the 6 would be an upset over the 3. I get it. And the 5 Texans beating the 4 Steelers is technically an upset. I guess if I had to pick a true one out of this mix that I could see happening, and there might be 2, and I think it's both the 2 seeds that could teeter on it a little bit. Patriots have looked apart all year long, but that Chargers team, if they're humming right, and defense travels, and they do play well defensively. Patriots don't have a whole lot of skill position guys. And on the other side, on the NFC side, you have a Bears and Packers squads, and the Packers are all beat up, but these teams are very familiar with each other. And we've not seen Caleb Williams in this spot before. So I think if I had to pick some intrigue, and maybe, of course, they could both get blown out, but maybe the biggest jeopardy of a higher seed might be both the 2 seeds going into wild card weekend here.
Yeah, I definitely see that as well.
All right. Appreciate the extra 30 minutes, guys. Go Birds. All right, Dev. We will see you Sunday, sir. And in case you didn't see my message earlier, yes, like I told you, you're good to go. I've got your sign up for 2 people. You're set. No worries. Lou Mancini brings up a reference from my old stomping grounds. My son got us Sally's Abits for Christmas, and it's calling me. And as always, go Birds. Those of you that don't know, in New Haven, Connecticut, that is how we spell it. Apizza, and we pronounce it Abits. And it is the best fucking pizza on the planet. And don't let anybody tell you different. Sally's is good. My favorite place is Modern Abits, but everybody's got their preference. Folks, we're going to get the hell out of here. We've been with you for an hour and a half. So, for you guys in the room, and for anybody watching or listening later, this has been Unhappy in the MP, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family, and proudly sponsored by Cheerleader Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. Let's get on to the rest of the week. Tomorrow is Friday Eve. Enjoy the rest of this week. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. We're past the holidays. That fucking judge ain't going to be back in until Monday. Remember that. And as always, kids, no closeout music this week. It's just a simple statement. Go Birds. And